Okay, we're going to get started. Nice to see all of you today again. This is Thursday, and so we're going to do a Rashi, actually two Rashis today, from the fifth Aliyah, action-packed Aliyah, rated R Aliyah, very difficult Aliyah, the whole incident of Yaakov coming to Shechem, the incident of Shechem and Dinah, which has a lot to study and a lot to say about it. But basically, in terms of the trajectory of our parsha, we've been looking a lot at the encounter of Yaakov and Esav, but this is the kind of denouement after that part of the story, which is really the crux of what we've been leading up to. As Yaakov continues into the land past the encounter with Esav, he goes to Shechem and has that whole incident with Shechem and Dinah, and then goes on to new and other things. He goes on to Beit El. And what happens to him in Beit El is very interesting from a number of perspectives. But the first thing that we learn in terms of what happens in Beit El, aside from the death of Devorah Menekes Rivka, after that, what happens in Beit El is very interesting. Vayira Elokim al Yaakov od beba'omi padan aram vayivarach oto. A short but complicated pasuk. God appears to Yaakov here in Beit El, od, again, beba'omi padan, as he's coming back from Padan Aram. He's coming back from all this time he had spent in Lavan's house. Vayivarach oto, and he blessed him. What's complicated about the pasuk is twofold. Number one, what's od? What's that he appeared to him again? This is the first apparition that he appears to him over here in Beit El. Why does it say od, beba'omi padan, as he's coming back from Padan Aram? And then what is vayivarach oto? What does he bless him with? Doesn't seem to carry on to give him any blessing. After that, we come to the name change of Yaakov to Yisrael, which we'll come to in just a second. But what is vayivarach oto and what is od? So let's go step by step over here. Rashi says od. What does od mean? Pam sheni b'makom hazeh, echad b'lechto ve'echad b'shuvo. Od doesn't mean, as it seems to mean in the pasuk, vayira Elokim al Yaakov, Elokim appears to Yaakov, od, again, b'bomi padan, again, as he returned from Padan. So it depends where you put the commas here or the punctuation. Od b'bomi padan could mean that God appeared to Yaakov a second time upon his return, meaning upon his return from Padan Aram, God appeared to him twice. But that doesn't seem to be the case because we don't see evidence of that in the text. So what Rashi is telling us is to punctuate differently. It says, Vayira Elokim al Yaakov, Elokim appeared to Yaakov, od, again, meaning again in this place, biba'omi padan. This time, the second time he appears to him in this place is now, at this juncture of his life, biba'omi padan, when he's coming back from Padan. The od is not saying that there's a second time he appears to him as he's coming back from Padan Aram. The od is a second time in this place. The in this place is not contained in the pasuk, but that's the implication. Beit El was a place that Hashem had appeared to Yaakov, and now he's appearing to them there again, od, and this time he appears to him biba'omi padan, as he's coming back from Padan. The reason the Torah specifies that, according to Rashi, is because the first time he appeared to him there in Beit El was belechto, as he was leaving the land going to Padan Aram. So it's fitting now that the Torah tells us he appeared to him od again, just like he appeared to him when he left, he appeared to him now again when he arrived. This time not when he's leaving, but biba'o, now when he's coming back from Padan Aram. That takes care of explaining the od. What is vayivarach oto? Vayivarach oto, says Rashi, birchas avelim. Hashem gave him birchas avelim. Hamakom yinachem eschem b'toch shar v'litzim Yerushalayim. He gives him nechama. What does he give him nechama for? What's the birchas avelim for? So it could be the previous pasuk tells about the death, but it's a death of Devorah Menekes Rivka. It's not related to him at all. Why is the death of Devorah cause Yaakov to receive from HaKadosh Baruch Hu birchas avelim, hamakum yinachem eschem, the bracha of nichum avelim? So to understand that, you have to understand perhaps the Chazal, the Medrash, the Rashi on the previous pasuk, which is that the death of Rivka is shaded and is hidden over in this parsha for a variety of different reasons. And when the Torah tells us about the death of Devorah Menekes Rivka, the nursemaid of Rivka, really what it's also alluding to here is that Rivka died as well. And there's a whole study as to why Rivka's death is not mentioned explicitly, but implicitly, the pasuk indicates that Rivka died. And so Yaakov now needs to receive nichum avelim from HaKadosh Baruch Hu in response to the death of his mother. So that's the vayivarach oto. So these two Rashis explain the od and Vayivarach, a very cryptic pasuk, but actually a very packed pasuk. Each word here is pregnant with meaning to try to understand where all this came from and what this very significant apparition from Hashem is really all about. What I want to leave you with is a third Rashi, and this is something that I want to leave you to think about. In the very next pasuk, at this place in Beit El, Yaakov's name is changed from Yaakov to Yisrael. Another complicated pasuk. If you're coming to my shir tonight for Torah in Motion, which is a great organization out of Toronto at 8:30, you can register to be part of that shir. They asked me to speak. I'll be speaking about this pasuk, Yaakov's name changed to Yisrael. But without going into all the details and interesting facts about this pasuk, what we do learn in this pasuk is that Yaakov's name was changed from Yaakov to Yisrael. And Rashi points out here that the name change from Yaakov to Yisrael is indicative of a change in terms of the status in his life. Why is his name no longer Yaakov? Because Yaakov is Lashon Adam Haba B'Marav Uba Ukva. Because Yaakov doesn't only mean heel, because he held on to the heel Esav, but Be'akva, in circuitous manner. It's indicative of a person who uses trickery, who kind of goes around things, who ambushes people by surprise in order to get what he needs. And that was the story of Yaakov's life up to this point, how he had to, quote unquote, trick his father to be able to get the blessings, how he had to trick Esav in various ways, to trick Lavan in various ways. That was the whole purpose of his life, and one can analyze more about why that was the case and what that means about his character, but that is the plain facts of his life. He was Yaakov, Be'akva, B'Marav, in circuitous kind of manner. However, now his name is Yisrael. Why? Ki'im Lashon Sar V'Nagid. Yisrael is from the Lashon of Sar V'Nagid, a prince, a minister, someone of Srara. Yisrael is from the language of Srara, which means power, control, someone of a higher stature, like a prince or like a minister who doesn't need to go Be'akva, doesn't need to go B'Marav, B'Mirma. He doesn't need to do all kinds of trickery to get what he wants. He's able to plow forward with his strength and get exactly what he needs. That's the name change of Yaakov. What I want you to think about is why this name change happens after this pasuk. Without these Rashis, you might say, well, there's really no significance. Yaakov appears in Beit El. Hashem appears to him again. He changes his name. He could have changed his name earlier. He could have changed his name after he wrestles with the angel at Peniel. He could have changed his name in Shechem. He could have changed his name all these times ago. Why does it happen now in light of what we just learned in the pasuk? Somehow, in the back recesses of my mind, I'm thinking that the death of his mother somehow precipitated the change of status in his life. And the reason I'm thinking that way is because Rivka had a lot to do with Yaakov's tactics. The way Yaakov learns to operate as a Yaakov is from Rivka. Rivka tells him to get dressed in Esav's clothes. Rivka prepares the right foods to tempt Yitzchak. Yaakov's life was shaped in a certain way by Rivka. If Rashi is correct, and in this previous pasuk, Rivka dies 2 psukim ago, and now Hashem gives him Nichum Avelem, now Hashem says, your name is now going to be changed. You're ready to enter this new phase of life of Yisrael. Think to yourself what these two stories might have to do with each other, why they're juxtaposed over here, and what the death of his mother and the Nichum, the Nechama that he gets from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, means in terms of the next step of his name change to Israel. I think there's a lot to think about there, not for a 10-minute share, but perhaps for a longer share, but maybe you could think about it and contemplate it on your own. Have a wonderful day, everybody.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Have a good day, everyone. Have a good